down.
It looks like the man who mocked a disabled reporter has a soft spot for the Special Olympics. Yeah. He claims he's overriding his Education Secretary Betsy DeVos's proposal to cut federal funding for the Special Olympics to make sure it gets funding. I mean...
Which is great. That's... The fact that we're even having this conversation, though, I think
he's doing it, but does he really believe? We're supposed to really believe this?
What I thought was really interesting was yesterday how she was arguing against it, and then today Betsy DeVos said, "I like how the president and I see eye to eye on this."
Yeah,
and it was like a complete switch around.
Right.
Well, she must be cross-eyed. But listen, first of all, the way he's treated Betsy DeVos and that entire interaction, I don't know how this woman, who is very rich and could go, sit in a yacht, is still working for him, because he has thrown her under the bus. He's, not that, she comes across heartless, not that she needs much help on that, but, she's being called Cruella DeVos, and she's still working for him after he yanks the rug from under her feet. But more than that, Special Olympics is something that we were all so passionate about, and we all recognize the name. But it's not just Special Olympics. It was millions and millions and millions of dollars in grants for special education, for autism, for blind students, a 26% cut for state grants. And so we have got to be vigilant that it is not only Special Olympics that is getting reinstated, but it is all these grants, because I don't want these faux Christians talking to me about, how to treat people if we can't treat the needy and the people who need this help with compassion.
Well, it just shows you, though, doesn't it, what this administration is all about? Right there, it shows you that.
Well,
but to the point that she's working for him when she's so rich and has 10 yachts. Have you seen the pictures? She's really rich. And really rich. Rhymes with rich, huh?
Well, I don't think her wealth should be held against her in this situation. I mean, I actually think it's admirable when people are extremely wealthy and decide to go into public service, regardless of how you feel. We were all in agreement on this policy about Special Olympics. We all thought it was a bad move and ill-advised and all these things, but I really wouldn't bring her personal family wealth into this argument.
She doesn't need the paycheck, right? To be putting up with this kind of humiliation.
It just shows you compelled to go into public service.
But I think the suggestion is that she might be out of touch because she's so wealthy, and maybe it doesn't occur to her.
Well, she was a very controversial choice because she didn't have a background in education to begin with. So that's my issue more than how wealthy her family is.
Well, also just being okay with this being the news, knowing what the headline's going to be. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, if you're color purple. Like, that's something we all care about. And so it's like, clearly she didn't have enough in her heart in that moment to know. And I think it's difficult for the country.
This is an administration that locks up children in cages, that separates children from their families, expects compassion from them. They're the opposite of that.
Well, I mean, just again, I don't think it was about her heart in this situation. I think it was about the idea that where we should make cuts on programming. And that was her argument, which we all agreed yesterday was ill-advised, and the amount of money was, I believe, $15 million, which is 4 trips to Mar-a-Lago. So if we could just, again, extract emotion from some of these conversations and stick with facts instead of doing character assassinations on people, I think it's more effective.
Megan,
I think part of the reason why it worked.
I can't extract
I don't
emotion.
like her. I don't like him. I had I mean, as you well, I mean, as everyone is very clear, I have a lot of personal feelings about the president, but for me to get through this administration, I can't traffic in this kind of way. I have to stick with facts, or I'm going to lose.
I got to tell you, why would you stick with facts when they're all about alternative facts?
Because I am better than they are.
Yeah,
no, because I hold myself to a different standard than they do. And the second I go low with this administration is the second I lose my credibility and my character, and I will not do it.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to attack the policy. I think that's exactly right. You can't stoop to that level. That's an easy attack line for a lot of Republicans, that they don't have a heart, they don't care about the poor, because their policies might be different. Do they need to do a better job at times explaining why they feel the way they do? Yes, but I think painting a broad brush and saying they aren't human, they ride on yachts.
I think
that takes us to their level too.
Okay, but it is because we got emotional. It is because the American people got emotional and showed their heart and their anger and their frustration.
That's right.
That this is getting over. If we just sat there reading statistics,
I don't believe I'm sitting and reading statistics.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the American people in general.
There's an emotional issue.
There was this emotional.
You don't want people running the country who have no sympathy or empathy for the poor and the disabled.
But Joy, your argument yesterday that it was merely 4 trips to Mar-a-Lago for the president, I think for a lot of people was the fact that changed their minds, because that's a lot of garbage. That 4 trips to Mar-a-Lago were the equivalent of funding the Special Olympics. I mean, if you want to talk about personalities and whatever, that's the fact that I think was the kill shot for this.
I don't
honestly,
see why you can't do
because
both.
it's ridiculous.
Why
It's
can't you-
ridiculous.
I
4
know.
trips to Mar-a-Lago versus Special Olympic funding. I don't think anyone in your right or left could think that's not
One of the ways
ridiculous.
that Donald Trump won is to be emotional and not give facts. He won that way.
Well, I don't have the luxury that all of you do, because for all the obvious reasons, I don't have that luxury, and I have to try and stick in facts.
Well, we'll do both.
Okay.
Coming up, the tabloids claim that Lady Gaga dumped her fiancé for texting her 24/7. Too clingy? These girls will spill